fans, we're coming from a loud Auburn High School today in a tri-match where our Trojans will be taking on Auburn High School and Park Crossing. Our Trojans are warming up now. Auburn High School just finished up their warm-ups. Trojans are warming up, working on their offense before the game. We got about 3 minutes left in warm-ups before starting. Lineups will be checked and we'll start playing volleyball. This is a brand new complex for Auburn High School. Very impressive. It's a lot like the today. So we'll this is the season schedule, and the Trojans are 7-0, undefeated in area play. We played Auburn earlier in the year at St. James, and the Tigers beat the Trojans. We have not yet played Park Crossing during the season. Again, we got about 1 minute and 45 seconds left before we'll start playing. Got about 15 seconds left as the Trojans practice their serves. Horn will blow in about 3 seconds and we'll be ready to play volleyball. Nope, they stopped it at 6.6 seconds. Thank you. Trojans break huddle. Both teams, the Tigers break huddle, get ready to meet each other at the net. Wish each other well and good luck during the match. Up ref is on the near side. Down ref is checking lineups on the Auburn side. Ball's in play. And we're playing volleyball. St. James will be receiving the ball first from Auburn. Ball comes over in play. Marilee Kapuya gets it to Emily Olsey. Olsey to Kathleen Wright. Blocked at the net. Ball falls on St. James court. Score 1-0 Auburn. Ball comes over. Bailey Williams plays it up. Goes to Kathleen Wright. That ball's in. Point for St. James, and evens the score at 1 apiece. Kathleen Wright with the kill. Emily Poundstone back serving for St. James. Gets it in, nice floater serves. Overpass opportunity for Olsey, and that ball's down. That's a kill for Emily Olsey on the overpass. 2-1, scores 2-1 in favor of the Trojans. Poundstone floats one into the middle of the back row. It hits a basketball goal. They're in hustle mode. They get it over. Olsey pushed over, played by Poundstone. Bailey Williams hustles over and gets the ball over. Olsey tips it over the net and down. It's a kill for Emily Olsey. Nice hustle point by the Trojans. St. James leads Auburn now 3-1. Poundstone still serving for the Trojans. She floats one in. Oh, just barely out of bounds. That's a service error for the Trojans. St. James has a 3-2 lead over the Tigers. Side out, Auburn scoring. St. James 3, Auburn 2. Serve comes in, played by Carson Ann Crow. She pushes it to Poundstone. Kathleen Wright, that's a kill for Kathleen Wright. That's her second kill of the match. Poundstone to Wright, that's a side out for the Trojans. The score now, St. James 4, Auburn 2. Marilee Kapuya back serving for the Trojans. She floats it in there to the back left corner. Auburn sets up their attack. Ball's blocked at the net. Carson Ann Crow blocks it at the net. They got a free ball to the Trojans, played by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Poundstone. Oh, it's going to be called a double hit on St. James. That's unfortunate because the Trojans had it set up nicely. St. James still holds on to a 1-point lead now to score. St. James 4, Auburn 3. Serve comes in, short serve played by Carson Crow. She gets it to Poundstone, back to Crow. Ball's hit and out of bounds. That's a kill for Carson Ann Crow. They get side out for the Trojans. They lead 5-3. Alan Browning, number 8, back serving for the Trojans. She floats one in, floater serve up, pushes it up to the net. Auburn sets up their offense. Blocked at the net and on to St. James' side. We were in the right place. The ball just hit our block and fell down. That's a point for Auburn. St. James leading now 5-4. Serve comes in, played by Browning. Poundstone hustles over and gets it. Back row attack by Carson Crow. Nicely played by free ball to the Trojans, played by Browning. She gets it to Poundstone. Back sets Carson Crow, and that's down. Kill for Carson Crow, nicely set up by the Trojans. And they lead 6-4 over Auburn. Ashley White comes in for Emily Poundstone as Emily Olsey goes back to serve for the Trojans. Olsey floats one into the back left corner. Tigers set up their offense. Played by Olsey. She gets it to Alan Browning. Browning over to Crow. Cross court shot. Picked up and dug up by Auburn. Blocked at the net. Pushed up and saved. It's a double hit called on the Trojans. St. James holding on to a 1-point lead now. Score St. James 6, Auburn 5. Serve comes in, played by Browning. She pushes it. Good ball goes into the net and falls on St. James' side. That evens the score now. St. James 6, Auburn 6. Serve comes in and out. Service error by Auburn gives St. James a side out and a point. They lead Auburn now 7-6 as Carson Ann Crow goes back to serve for the Trojans. Carson Ann floats a floater in there to the back left corner. Auburn sets up their attack. Ball's dug up by Olsey. She gets it Allen Browning. Browning over to Ashley White. She hits it down the right sideline. Carson Ann Crow saves it. She gets it to Olsey. Olsey pushes it to Marilee Capulla. That's a kill for Marilee Capulla. That's her first of this match. Very well played by Capulla to put it where they ain't hit it into the block, and then they couldn't get it back up. St. James leading now 8-6. Carson Ann Crow floats one into the back left corner. Oh, it's dug up by Allen Brown, and she gets it Ashley White. Bailey Williams pushes it over. Auburn in hustle mode. The nice hit by the Auburn attacker. Side out to Auburn with St. James holding on to an 8-7 lead now. Serve comes in. Bailey Williams gets it to Olsey. Olsey back over to Marilee Capulla. Back to the back right corner. Auburn sets up their attack. Ball hits on St. James' side. That evens a score up now. St. James 8, Auburn 8. Serves floated in, played by Allen Brown, and she gets it to Olsey. Olsey back sets to Bailey Williams. Nice attack, dug up by the Tigers. Thought it was dug up by Olsey, and the ball goes out of bounds. That's a point for Auburn, and they take a 9-8 lead over the Trojans. Comes in, played by Browning. Olsey hustles over and gets it back over to Capulla. Ball's blocked at the net and back onto St. James' side of the court. Auburn extends their lead by 2. They lead St. James 10-8. Serve comes in, played by Browning. She gets it to Olsey. Pushes it up to Ashley White. It's blocked at the net. St. James digs the ball back up. Auburn sets up their offense. Hammers the ball back down on St. James' side. Auburn leads St. James 11-8. Oh, that's got to be out of it. Ball, it's a service error on Auburn. It hits the net. Side out, point for St. James. St. James trails 11-9 as Bailey Williams goes back to serve for the Trojans. Bailey floats it into the middle of the back row. Auburn sets up their attack. It's blocked at the net. Ashley White and Kathleen Wright with a block at the net. Point for St. James, and they trail only by 1 now, 11-10. Bailey floats one into the back left corner. Auburn hustles up with a back row attack. It's pushed over, played by Ashley White. She gets it to Olsey, back to Ashley White. Down the right sideline, dug up by the Tigers. Ball's out. Point for St. James. Attacker hits the ball long, and it evens us up at 11. St. James 11, Auburn 11. Bailey Williams still serving for the Trojans. Service error for the Trojans. It gives Auburn a side out, and they lead St. James now 12-11. Serve comes in, played by Bailey Williams. Gets it to Olsey, back row set. Carson Ann Crow blocked at the net, and it falls down on St. James' side of the court. Auburn extends their lead to 13-11 over the Trojans. Serve comes in, played by Carson Ann Crow. Olsey hustles and gets it over to Ashley White. She's blocked at the net, and the ball falls on St. James' side of the court. St. James trails Auburn now 14-11. Serve comes in, played by Marilyn Capulla. Pass goes into the net and falls on St. James' side. Auburn extends their lead 15-11. Timeout, St. James. The Tigers break huddle and so do the Trojans. Auburn up in this first set over St. James 15-11. Serve comes in, played by Carson Crow. She gets it to Olsey, over to Ashley White. Dug up by the Tigers, they set up their attack. Ball's tipped at the net and goes out of bounds. Out of bounds on the Trojans. That gives Auburn another point, and they lead St. James 16-11. Serve comes in, played by Bailey Williams. Olsey hustles over and gets it to Ashley White. She pushes it down the right line. Auburn sets up their attack. Blocked at the net by Ashley White and back down on the court. Point for St. James and side out for the Trojans. Emily Poundstone comes in for Ashley White and serving for St. James as they trail Auburn 16-12. Poundstone floats one down the back right corner. That's an ace. Ace for Poundstone. That's her first of the match. Point for St. James. They trail only now by 3, 16-13. Poundstone floats another one back in the back right corner. Auburn sets up their offense. Oh, dug up by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Poundstone, back over to Carson Crow. Auburn digs up that, sets up their offense. That ball's out. Attack error by the Tigers gives St. James their 14th point. They only trail by 2 now, 16-14. Poundstone still serving for the Trojans. She floats one in, barely over the net and down. That's her second ace of the match. Nice serve for Emily. Now we're down by 1. Auburn 16, St. James 15. Poundstone floats another one back to the back right corner. Auburn sets up their offense. Blocked at the net by Olsey. Oh, ball's in. They thought it was out, but the ball fell right on the line. That's a side out for Auburn and point for them. Auburn leads St. James now 17-15 in this first set. Serve comes in, played by Emily Olsey. She gets it to Poundstone, back to Kathleen Wright, tipped off the net. Auburn sets up their attack. Ball's dug up by Carson Crow. Poundstone gets it back over to Marilee Capulla. Off the block and down. That's a kill for Marilee Capulla. That's her second kill of the match. Side out and point for St. James as they trail Auburn now 17-16. Marilee Capulla back serving for the Trojans. Nice serve, barely over the net. Auburn sets up their offense, and that's a hit and error by Auburn. That ties it up at 17-all. Capulla still back serving at 17. Barely gets it back over to the back left corner. Auburn sets up their offense. Dug up by, oh, it's a nice save by Poundstone, but the ball goes out of bounds. Nice hustle play by the Trojans with a side out for Auburn, and they take the 1-point lead back. Auburn 18, St. James 17. Ball comes in. Bailey Williams dives and saves it. Olsey tips it over the block and down. That's her third kill. St. James evens the score at 18 as Alan Browning serves for the Trojans. Ball barely goes over the net, gets to the back left corner. Tigers set up their offense. Oh, that ball's out. Ooh, nice play by Alan Browning, letting that ball go out of bounds. That's a point for St. James, and they lead Auburn now 19-18. Browning floats another one back into the middle of the Auburn defense. They set up their attack. Blocked at the net by the Trojans. Dug up by Marilee Kapuya. Poundstone gets it over to Carson Crow. That's shoot. She hit a cross-court shot, but barely went out of bounds. That's a side out and a point for Auburn, and we're all evened up at 19. Serve comes in, played by Alan Browning. Oh, the ball goes out of bounds. Point for Auburn, and they take a 1-point lead over the Trojans now, 20-19. Serve comes in, played by Carson Crow. She gets it to Poundstone. Back to Bailey Williams. That ball's in. Nice placement by Bailey, getting the ball right on the line. That's a kill for Bailey Williams. And that's a side out for St. James, and we're all evened up at 20 now as Emily Olsey goes back to serve for the Trojans. Ashley White comes in for Emily Poundstone. Oh, doggone it. Serve into the net. Service area by the Trojans gives Auburn a side out, and their 21st point is they lead St. James 21-20. Serve comes in, played by Marilee Kapuya. Olsey pushes it back up. Carson Crow saves it, gets the ball back over the net. Olsey, I think, stepped on somebody's foot. And we had a little timeout, injury timeout there. Saved by the Trojans. Auburn sets up their offense. Blocked at the net by Bailey Williams and Carson Crow. Blocked at the net again. Point for St. James. That's 4 hits. Side out to the Trojans, and we're all tied back up at 21 all. Carson Crow back serving for the Trojans. Floats it into the back right corner. Get out of here, ball. Nope. Auburn saves it. Free ball to the Trojans. Alan Browning hustles and gets the ball over. Olsey pushes. It's out of bounds. That was almost a smart play by Ashley White, pushing it down the right sideline, but the ball went wide down the line. Side out to Auburn, and they lead St. James now 22-21. Serve comes in. Carson Crow gets it up. Browning saves it. Carson Crow gets the ball back over the net. Auburn sets up their offense. Ball's down on St. James' side of the court, and Auburn takes a 23-21 lead. We got timeout on the court by St. James. Again, Auburn leads the Trojans 23-21. This is the Trojans break huddle, take the court. Tigers do the same. The score, Auburn 23, St. James 21. This is the first set of a best 2 out of 3 match. Serve comes in, played by, the ball off a defender and out of bounds. That gets us to set point this first set. Auburn 24, St. James 21. Lucy Edwards, number 3, comes in on the back row for St. James. Ball comes in, played by Edwards. Gets the ball to Olsey. Olsey pushes it up to Kapuya. Kapuya punches it over and saves it. Auburn sets up their offense. Push it over, pushed up by Bailey Williams. Ashley White pushes it to the back row. Auburn sets up their attack. Dug up by Carson Crow. Olsey back sets it to Ashley White. Ball's pushed out of bounds. That ball's out. A point for St. James. We got a side out in the score. Auburn 24, St. James 22. As Bailey Williams goes back to serve for St. James. Kathleen Wright, number 2, comes in for Lucy Edwards and goes up to the front row. Bailey floats one into the middle of the back row. The Auburn defense, they set up their back row attack. It's pushed over, pushed up by Olsey, dug up by Auburn. Free ball to St. James. Kathleen Wright gets it to Olsey, back set to Ashley White. Ball, that's a kill for Ashley White. Off the Auburn defender and out of bounds. Olsey to White. Trojans down only by 1 now. Auburn 24, St. James 23. Bailey Williams still back serving for St. James. Serve goes into the back right corner. Auburn sets up their attack. Ball's out. Oh! Down referee is overruled, and the ball called out of bounds by the Auburn attacker. We're all evened up now at 24 all. Bailey Williams back serving for St. James. Serve gets barely over the net. That's an ace for Bailey Williams. What a perfect time for an ace. St. James leading Auburn now 25 to 24. Come on. Ball goes into the middle of the back row. Auburn sets up their offense. Pushed up, played by Olsey. Bailey Williams hustles it in, gets it to Kapuya. Off the block, get down, ball. Oh man, free ball to St. James. Carson Ann Crow gets it to Olsey. Olsey back to Ashley White. Touch! That's a touch and it's out of bounds. Point for St. James. That ends the first set. That was a kill by Ashley White. Very well played first set by the Trojans, hustling back, fighting back to win that one 26 to 24. Again, this is a best 2 out of 3 match. The Trojans take the first one 26-24. If there's a third set needed, it will be played to 15. There's a 3-minute intermission between sets. That first game, kills were spread out pretty evenly. Kathleen Wright had 2 kills. Marilee Kapuya had 2 kills. Carson Ann Crow had 2 kills. Bailey Williams had 1 kill. Emily Olsey had 3 kills. Ashley White had 2 kills. Emily Poundstone had 2 aces. Bailey Williams had 1 ace. Kathleen Wright had 1 block. And Ashley White had 2 blocks.
I didn't leave till it was after 3:15 or something like that. Yeah. Did your heart stop? Just see it?
Yes. I don't know what's happened. Where is everybody? 7, 9, switch.
We got about 20 seconds left before we're going to start the second set. The down referee is checking the Auburn lineup as they have taken the court. St. James will be serving to Auburn this second set. Auburn lineup is checked. The Trojans will move into place, and their starting lineup will be checked. Emily Olsey, Kathleen Wright, Lizanne Livings will be on the front row. Emily Poundstone, Bailey Williams, and Carson Ann Crow will be on the back row. And here we go. Let's start the second set. Poundstone serving for the Trojans. She floats one in back to the middle of the Auburn defense. Pushed up to the net. Blocked, picked up. Carson Crow digs the ball up, gets it to Poundstone. And Olsey saves the ball over the net. What a save. Ball's out on St. James' side. That's a point for Auburn. Nice hustle play by Carson Crow to dig that ball up. Auburn takes a 3-2. Auburn takes a 3-2 lead over the Trojans. Serve comes in, played by Bailey Williams, gets it to Poundstone, pushes it up to Kathleen Wright. Off the block and out of bounds. Point for St. James. That's Kathleen Wright's third kill of the match. That evens a score of 3-all as Lizanne Livings goes back to serve for the Trojans. The service error into the net, and that's a side out for Auburn, and they lead St. James now 4-3. Serve comes in, played by Bailey St. Crow. Down the line, that's a kill for Carson Crow. Taking candy from a baby there. That was perfectly set up by the Trojans, and that evens a score 4-apiece. Lucy Edwards comes in for Kathleen Wright and serving for St. James. Edwards floats one into the middle of the back of Auburn defense. Blocked at the net. Auburn hustles over. We got a free ball to St. James. Played by Olsey. She pushed it to Poundstone. Back to Carson Crow. The ball's out of bounds. Kill for Carson Ann Crow. Very nicely set up ball. St. James takes a 5-4 lead over the Tigers. Edwards floats another one into the back left corner. Auburn sets up their attack. Ball dug up by Carson Crow. She gets it to Poundstone. Crow saves the ball, gets the ball over the net. Auburn sets up their attack. Lizanne Livins saves it. We crossed over the line there. We had a line violation. Emily, after Poundstone, after setting the ball up, touched the line, so we got a side out for Auburn, and that evens a score 5-5. Serve coming in from the Tigers. Ball played by Lucy Edwards. She gets the ball to Poundstone. Poundstone back to Crow. Saved by Edwards. She gets the ball to Poundstone. Poundstone back over to Bailey Williams. Ball's down. Nice play by Bailey Williams. Side out to the Trojans, and they take a 6-5 lead over the Tigers. Ashley White comes in for Emily Poundstone up on the front row as Emily Olsey is serving for St. James. Olsey floats one into the middle. That's an ace. Ace for Olsey. She floated it in there and it went off the forearm of an Auburn defender out of bounds. St. James takes a 7-5 lead over the Tigers. Olsey floats another one just barely over the tape. That ball's down. That's another ace for Olsey. St. James takes an 8-5 lead over the Tigers. Service error into the net. That's a side out for Auburn, with St. James holding on to an 8-6 lead. Ball comes in, played by Edwards. Carson Ann Crow hustles the ball over. Olsey gets a free ball back over to it's pushed over nicely by Bailey Williams, perfectly placed. Overpass. Side out to the Trojans, and they lead Auburn now 9-6. Carson Ann Crow back serving for St. James. Smart play by Bailey Williams to push it where they're not. Serve goes in. It's long. Service error by St. James. Side out to Auburn. St. James leads Auburn now 9-7. Serve comes in, played by Carson Crow. She gets the ball to Olsey. She pushes the ball up. Ashley White gets the ball back over the net. Auburn sets up their offense. We got a free ball to the Trojans, played by Olsey. Bailey Williams pushes the ball over to Ashley White. Kill down the right sideline, dug up by the Tigers. Oh, the nice kill by Auburn down the line. Not a lot we could do with that one. Side out to Auburn with St. James holding on to a 1-point lead now with the score St. James 9, Auburn 8. Serve comes in, played by Lucy Edwards. She pushes it to Olsey. Olsey back sets to Bailey Williams. Get out of here, ball. It's a kill for Bailey Williams. That's her 4th of the match. Side out to St. James. Kathleen Wright comes in for Lucy Edwards and gets up on the front row as Bailey Williams goes back to serve for the Trojans that are up over Auburn 10-8. Bailey pushes the ball back to the middle of the back row of Auburn. They set up their offense. Wow, it's a nice hit by the Auburn attacker. Side out to Auburn. She had to hit it through our block. St. James holding on to a 1-point lead over Auburn. The score is St. James 10, Auburn 9. Serve comes in, played by Carson Crow. She pushes it to Olsey. Olsey to Kathleen Wright. Off the block. Auburn sets up their offense. This ball's pushed over. Dug up nicely by Liz Ann Living. She gets the ball to Olsey. Ashley White hits the ball back to the back of the Auburn defense. They set up their attacker. Dug up nicely by Carson Crow. She gets it to Olsey. Ran out of real estate over on the right side. Point for Auburn. We're all tied up at 10 apiece. Serve comes in, played by Bailey Williams. She gets the ball to Olsey. Back sets. Kathleen Wright. She's blocked at the net. Point for Auburn. They lead St. James now 11-10. Floater serve comes in, played by Carson Crow. She gets the ball to Olsey. Back sets to Kathleen Wright. Tips over the block to the middle of the Auburn defense. They set up their attack. Blocked at the net. Ashley White and Kathleen Wright at the net. Point for St. James and a side out. We're all tied up at 11. Emily Poundstone comes in for Ashley White, and Poundstone will be serving for the Trojans. Serve floats into the middle of the back line of the Auburn defense. Ball's on the line. Point for Auburn, side out to Auburn. They lead St. James now 12-11. Serve comes in, played by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Poundstone. She pushes it over to Olsey. Off the block, get up in there, get the basketball. Come on. Auburn somehow saves the ball. Free ball to St. James, played by Carson Crow. Gets it to Poundstone. Olsey at the net. Saved by Carson and Crow. Liz Ann Livings gets the ball over on the free ball. They set up, dug up by Bailey Williams. She gets the ball to Poundstone. Carson Crow with a back row attack. Auburn digs it up, sets up their offense. Ball's out of bounds. It hits the antenna. That's an attack error by the Tigers, giving St. James a side out and a point. We're all evened up at 12. Liz Ann Livings goes back to serve for the Trojans. Serve comes into the middle of the back row. Auburn's in hustle mode. Rolled over, played by Poundstone. She gets the ball to Bailey Williams. Carson and Crow ran out of real estate on the left side, and the ball goes out of bounds. Side out to Auburn. They lead St. James now 30. Serve comes in. That ball's out. Service error by the Tigers. That was perfect timing. Side out to the Trojans, and then we're all evened up at 13 as Lucy Edwards, number 3, comes in to serve for the Trojans. Edwards side. They're in hustle mode now. Played by Carson Crow to the Poundstone. Back to Crow. Off the block and out of bounds. Kill for Carson and Crow. Point to St. James. Very well set up play by the Trojans. With St. James leading Auburn now 14-13. It's Lucy Edwards, number 3, back serving for the Trojans. She floats one down the middle of the back row, sets up their offense. Emily Poundstone tries to dig it up, but can't get the altitude on the ball. Ball hits the St. James side of the court. We're all evened up at 14. It's a side out to Auburn. Serve comes in, played by Carson Crow. She gets it to Poundstone, back sets it to Olsey. She hits it over the block. Auburn sets up their offense. Dug up nicely by Lizanne Livings. Poundstone gets the ball. Lucy Edwards gets a free ball back. The ball's out of bounds. Point to Auburn. That was a nice play by Lizanne Livings to dig that ball up. Good hustle play by the Trojans. But Auburn leads St. James 15-14. Serve comes in, played by Carson Ann Crow. She gets it to Poundstone, back to Crow in the middle. That's a kill for Carson Ann Crow. She hit it right into the center of a defender. Point for St. James and side out. Ashley White comes in for Emily Poundstone. Emily Olsey back serving for the Trojans, and the score is 15-all. Olsey floats one into the middle of the back. Overpass. Happy birthday, Carson Ann. Hit it down right in her face. St. James takes a 16-15 lead with a kill for Carson Ann Crow on the overpass. Emily Olsey back serving for St. James. Olsey floats it in barely over the tape. The Tigers hustle up, set up their offense. Ball's out. Caught a touch at the net. Side out to Auburn, and we're all evened up at 16. Again, this one's going back and forth. Serve comes in, played by Lucy Edwards. Lizanne Livings gets the ball over to Bailey Williams. She gets the ball over the net. Auburn sets up their offense. Ball's pushed up, played by Ashley White. Olsey hustles over and gets the ball over. Ball hitting to the net. Point for Auburn, and they take a 1-point lead over St. James, 17-16. Serve comes in, played by Carson Crow. Olsey back sets it to Crow. It's blocked at the net. Auburn sets up their offense. Blocked. And down onto St. James side of the court. Auburn takes an 18-16 lead over the Trojans. Serve comes in, played by Lucy Edwards. Ashley White gets the ball over to Bailey Williams. Free ball over to the Auburn side. Auburn sets up their offense. Ball's blocked at the net. That's 4 hits for Auburn. Point for St. James and a side out to the Trojans. The score, Auburn 18, St. James 17, as Carson Ann Crow goes back to serve for the Trojans. Serve comes in. That's an ace. It just went out there and died. Carson Ann Crow's first ace of the match, and that evens the score at 18-all. Perfect timing. Carson Ann floats another one back into the back right corner. Auburn sets up their offense. That ball's out. Ball out. Attack error by the Tigers. That gives St. James a 1-point lead. St. James leading 19-18 over the Tigers. Carson floats another one in. That was get out here ball. The Tigers hustle and get that one over. Free ball to St. James. Lizanne Livings gets it to Olsey. Ashley White over the block and down. That's a kill for Ashley White. Very well played. St. James leads the Tigers now 20-18. Ashley hit it over the block. Serve goes into the back left corner. The Tigers set up their offense. Ball's out. Attack error by Auburn gives St. James a 21-18 lead over the Tigers. Carson and Crow still back serving for St. James. Ball goes to the back right corner. Lizanne Livens gets the ball to Olsey. Olsey back over to Lizanne Livens. She rolls it over the net. Overpass. Nicely placed. Point for St. James, and that's a kill for Lizanne Livens. That's her second of the match. St. James leading 22-18. Serve floats over, right, played by the front row. Tigers set up their offense. Into the net it goes. That's an attack error by the Tigers, and that gives St. James a 23-18 lead over Auburn. Carson and Crow still back serving for St. James. She floats it in. Oh, it's a bullet back in the back right corner. We got a free ball coming to St. James. Played by Lucy Edwards. She punches it to Olsey. Olsey to, oh, it's a double hit. Doggone it. That was perfect. Side out and a point for Auburn. Great run by the Trojans. Great run. They lead Auburn now 23-19. Serve comes over, played by Lucy Edwards to Bailey Williams. Ashley White gets it down. Auburn sets up their attack. Out of bounds. Attack error by the Tigers gives St. James set point in this second set as Kathleen Wright comes in for Lucy Edwards. St. James leads 24-19 as Bailey Williams back serving for the Trojans. She floats one into the middle of the back row. Pushed up. Carson and Crow gets it to Olsey. Olsey back sets to Ashley White. She pushes it to the back. We got a free ball to St. James, played by Carson and Crow. Olsey pushes it over to Kathleen Wright. Down it goes. Kathleen Wright with a kill. That's her fourth of the match, and that ends the second set. St. James wins the second set over Auburn 25-19.